Okay, very good. Can we show him getting mic'd up? Steny, you there? How are you, Steny? Hear ya?
Perfect. I can hear you.
You can hear me? Good. Hey, Steny, let me ask you, we just showed John Boehner coming in this past weekend on Meet the Press, and we all are curious. Why don't you have his tan? Why aren't you as tan as John Boehner?
Why am I can't. We need to turn the volume up here a little bit. So
Yeah, no.
Am I not as what as John Boehner?
You heard me. Tan. John Boehner has this remarkable tan at all times.
Oh, why am I not as tan?
As tan as John Boehner. Do you just not go out with the people as much in the streets as John Boehner, or wherever he goes?
I guess
to
I
get
just
that
don't
color?
have the same salon that he has, perhaps.
Oh my goodness! Well, you'd think he'd be going there less because you guys are taxing that now. So there's going to be a vote. There's going to be a vote today about what, a $26 billion stimulus bill.
Yes, well, it's a bill that's fully paid for, as you know, and it seeks to help the states keep teachers on board so the class sizes are not exploding. And we think that's going to keep about 160,000 teachers on the job this fall, which we think is positive for students, for parents, and for our country.
So it's $26 billion.
Yes.
Are you telling me, has CBO scored it as revenue neutral?
Not only is it revenue neutral, but we raise a little more money than we spend. So it will, to some degree, not very much, but a couple of billion, $3 billion, reduce the deficit.
Great. So where did you get the $29 billion?
Well, we got part of that. We got from a expenditure that we've ended early that was in the Recovery Act that we think we can end earlier on food stamps. We get additional dollars out of various different programs, but a major portion of the dollars that we get is closing tax loopholes for shipping jobs overseas. We think that is not only good tax policy, but it's good jobs policy for the American people, keeping jobs here in America. So not only are the pay-fors make this bill deficit neutral and in fact reduce the deficit a little bit, but they also are important for keeping jobs here in America.
The USA Today main headline, federal pay tops private workers, talking about people that work for the federal government make a good bit more money than people that work in the private sector. Conservatives are making a timely attack on this bill, suggesting that it's a payoff to public unions. Do public unions also win big in this bill today?
Well, I don't think it's a question of public unions. The public wins big in this bill, as I said, by keeping teachers on the job, by keeping police and fire on the job, by allowing local governments to keep critical services operating for the public. I don't think that's a question of anybody but the public winning on this, and also keeping about 300,000 people on the job. We know that jobs are still slow. The job growth has not been as robust as we would like. While we've added jobs in the private sector every month this year, we've lost substantial jobs in the public sector, and we know that whether you're unemployed because you lose a public job or a private job, that causes the economy stress. It causes families stress. So we think that this bill is a very positive effort to help states keep people on the job, educating our children and protecting our public.
Christy.
Well, I think it's important that it does sort of equalize more the cuts that are being done at the state level with the spending that's being done at the federal level, and that the jobs that are being protected are not just important to the families of those wage earners, but to the communities. But I will also say that the elephant in the room is the pension and health plans that exist for public workers in Illinois and around the country that have to be tackled because they are simply unaffordable.
Yeah, and that's obviously, Steny, that's what Chris Christie's doing in New Jersey right now, obviously. Don't we have to look across the country at certain unions that pay 0% in for health benefits, lifetime health benefits?
Joe, as you know, and others of you who are there, I gave a speech about a month ago on the importance of looking at the fiscal posture of our country, and that we needed to look across the board at spending and revenues, and we needed to look at entitlement programs. Clearly, we need to make sure that in the long term our debt and deficit are under control, that we return to, frankly, where we were in the 90s, where we had surpluses and a growing economy, created a lot of jobs, an economy that was robust. So I certainly agree with you that we have to look at, across the board, our expenditures and our obligations.
Back in the 1990s, of course, you know why those were the glory years, right? Because Steny and I were working together on Capitol Hill.
That's right, Joe. We'll claim full credit.
We will take full credit for it. Really quickly, by the way, we are big defenders of Blago around here. I'm taking up, though, Maxine's cause. Maxine Waters, a good friend of mine. Is Maxine going to be okay?
Well, we'll see. I hope she is, and I think she'll be okay.
Yeah.
But, Joe, I think what this is evidence of is that the process is working as it's designed to do, to make sure that this Congress and its members are operating in a way that the American public can have trust in its operations, and the ethics process is working.
Another good friend of both of ours, Jim Clyburn, suggests that some of these ethics charges are racially motivated. What's your response to that?
Well, I certainly hope that's not the case. Obviously, this is a bipartisan ethics committee, and I don't think it's the case. I hope it's not the case. If it is the case, that's certainly wrong. What the ethics committee is charged to do is to look at the facts, to make those judgments on the facts, to see if they think that there's reason to look at this further. Right. And that's what's happened here, Joe. We need to be very cautious. What has been done is they've looked at these and said that there's reason to believe that we ought to look more closely at the allegations that have been made. Nobody has been found guilty of anything or of having violated yet the rules of the House. Okay. What has happened is the process is working as we hoped it would.
All right.
All right. House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thanks a lot.
And Steny, get out in the sun. Seriously? You're looking peakish. What do we have next?
Coming up next on Morning Joe, a mini Madoff with a huge star list. How an account